John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned, because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Wow, everybody, I want to welcome you to the show. What a great show we have for you. I want to introduce you right out of the gate because I've been so excited about this show. I have a very special guest, Karoleen Fober, joining me here today. And by the way, when I think about Karoleen, here's what I want to talk about. Congratulations, number one, on a fabulous book. The book in its, hold the book up so everybody can see that book. You see what that says? You see what the cover of that book says? Opening to Divine Intervention. This is the juice. This is the stuff that you don't learn in kindergarten. If you're lucky enough to get exposure like I've gotten, you get a sense of it. But what is it like to live your life like that? Now, Karoleen is the author of this fabulous book, but so much more, so much more. For her, kind of like me, you get this spiritual connection early on in life before you can talk, maybe, that's her. And then you pray, and then you have an understanding about things. Then you notice things around you, right? Like we're going to talk about that, the dreaded elementary school experiences. But then you decide to be quiet about it. And there's a reason you become quiet about it. Why? Well, like me, when I declared in Catholic boarding school that I talked to Jesus and Jesus told me my mom was with him, and then Mother Superior confirmed my mom was with him, you become something that is not normal to people. But that's not what she did. She found out later that when you surrender to communication, spiritual communication, when you understand to hear, maybe a different decibel, maybe you're hearing Christ, maybe you're hearing something else. But what is it you do with that? Today's story, today's book, today's interview, and she and I have this one thing super in common. We are late bloomers. I blame my Capricorn moon and my 3 other planets in Capricorn moon. But writing this book, she's inspiring me to get off my you-know-what, come out of the gate, and go big or go home. Karoleen, thank you so much for joining me here today, and thank you for a phenomenal book. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I followed you and I listened to your shows, and I'm such a fan. And so I am thrilled to be here. Just so excited.
So let's talk about this, because I had not heard the term divine intervention. Look, I don't have a lot of time to tell you, but I'm here because I dialed the wrong phone number in 2003 and didn't hang up. And I'm a girl from New York, and just saying,
yeah,
we don't stay on. Okay. But I have so many examples in my life, but I want to hear it from you. I want to hear this beautiful idea about divine intervention and why you felt so deeply in your heart now to write such an incredible book on this topic. What the heck touched you to bring you out?
Exactly. 25 years ago, January 15th of 2000, I signed up for a group reading. And we're going around the table, you're going around the chairs, and I was so excited. I was all ready to write everything down. And the woman put her hands out, closed her eyes, and said, "You will write a book, and it will be important for the world." I was shocked. I almost was paralyzed. I thought, I'm not going to write a book. I didn't want to write a book. But as you know, it resonated with me. It connected with me so that I couldn't forget it. I put it on the back burner a little bit because I was so in shock. I didn't ask her what the book could be about. And maybe she didn't know, but she didn't tell me. And it was a mini reading, so she just kept going. I, on the other hand, was I don't think I remember anything more about that day except the message. And thank goodness I wrote it down. And through the years, I was perplexed. I kept bringing it up, but it just kept, being on the back burner. And then um, in 2017, I said, I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to write about. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to make use of my time and I'm going to write down all of these divine intervention experiences that have been happening to me over my lifetime. And so I thought, well, I probably have 20. And that the first time I sat down, I had 30. And then, you go to sleep and then you wake up. Oh, there's 5 more. I had 50. And I said, 50. So in the winter, we go to Florida. I had the list in my carry-on. I'm in my desk in Florida. And I was looking at the list and I felt the energy around me. There was a cord. It was like connecting all of those stories. And I said out loud, oh my God, this is the book. I
But that's it, right? But that isn't that what we're talking about when you're
Yeah.
when you're writing a book, but you're also talking about opening up to divine intervention. See, isn't that a beautiful example? And here's what I want to say too about what you just shared. Thank you so much for sharing that because, what I'm finding now in the world as the owner of the network, of course we're expanding and growing because this is time for me to come out. This has got
Yes.
to be a coming out party now. And, I could not have predicted where we are today in media, but I kind of knew.
Yeah.
But just like you, it took 20 plus years. But in the background, you had been formulating the
Yes.
ideas, you had been recording the documentation. And so let me ask you this question too. This book is off the charts. People love this book. And the timing of it is so beautiful because it matches the hunger for people to find solutions. So here's the deal. You got a quote in the book from Einstein. I want to give you another one. Somewhere Einstein said, you cannot solve the problem at the level it's been created.
Yeah.
And when I read your book, these are pure perfection of examples of exactly what he meant that we must learn, right?
Abs Absolutely. And that's the whole point. They're happening to us all the time. They're happening to everyone, but what do we do with them? We call them a fluke. We call them a coincidence when we know the word coincidence comes from coincide, which means to match, fit perfectly. And I just remember, that term divine intervention. It was the term when I was in my 20s that I would tell my girlfriends about. This thing
Wow.
happened to me. I had another divine intervention. That's
Wow.
how that word came out and started living in me.
I love this. I mean, so much so that it is so much more than a book. And I want to go over this because I know your PR people, they send me all these questions because I think people assume I don't read the books, but I read the books. I want
Thank
to
you.
ask you, yeah, you come out of the gate with there is more for you. So I really glued on to that because in 2024, I had a tagline that 2024 is the year of more. And people are like, what do you mean, Pat? Really more? Shouldn't we be less? And I'm like, no, we have to be more. So let's talk about this, but let's share some stories. Mom in the hospital, angels appearing. You have put the most incredible stories in here. And I almost think what courage it took you to write this.
Oh yeah, I was scared. I think when you share your own life, well, it's out there forever in a book. But I also knew, I gave my life to Christ when I was 12. So that's saying yes. And even though I didn't want to write the book, I didn't know how to write the book. I never forgot it. It was like a force just taking me along. No, there's no strife in it. And then this is what's interesting. So when I started putting all those books or the stories together, and by the way, I've had over 450 that I've documented, and over 80 are in the book. And I stopped writing them all down as far as counting them about 8 years ago. So imagine, I'm having them every day. So, and everybody else is too. They're just not, connecting it. But I just, I, I knew that I had to. And I was like, I need to get this done, girl. And so I, contacted a publisher, and here's the fun part. It may have taken 23 years to have the book out and published, but I wrote the manuscript in 4 weeks. Now that's the Holy
Thank you.
That's the Holy Spirit working. I call it an intuitive wave. And most people know what I'm talking about. It's like you feel like you have to do it right now. And I sat down, and 84,000 words later. And by the way, the book has won 8 awards. And like you
Yes.
said, I agree with you. I think people are having their own experiences enough that they can't deny it. They're waking up to their spiritual connection, and it is a beautiful, beautiful, uplifting thing that is going to elevate everyone.
Yeah. See, this is what I love. Things show up in my life exactly when I need them, and
Yes.
exactly to remind me that I did not get here alone. And like you, my mark with Jesus happened in Catholic boarding school. I had always been, but I was introduced to a different kind of Jesus. I don't think I'm going to say this properly. I was introduced to a benevolent man, right?
Yeah.
With kindness. And honestly, I was in Catholic boarding school at a ridiculously young age. And I was like 6.
Okay.
And I looked at the 9th station at a cross on a weekend because they didn't pick me up. And I looked at Jesus has his head. He's fallen down for the 3rd time. And I pulled on Sister Michael Anthony, who did not like me. And I said, Jesus just told me my mom was with him. Oh, she went into a fit. Like, you're doing it again, blah, blah. Dragged me to Mother Superior, walked into Mother Superior. Mother Superior had they used to wear the habits, had the habit, picked up her head. She's bawling her eyes out. She's got a note from my dad. My mom had died. Now, that sends you, that gets you expelled, youngest person ever expelled from Catholic boarding school. But then your life becomes telling truth like that. And I want to ask you about this for your life.
Yes.
Writing a book like this had to be done.
Absolutely.
But I want to know 2 things. How did writing the book change you today?
Oh.
Let me give you that first thing.
Okay.
And then number 2, I'll tell you the second question. How did it strengthen your relationship with the divine, Jesus, whoever that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it change me? I feel like I'm a whole new person. I feel like I'm more empowered. I feel like I'm more of Karoleen. I feel like I'm doing what I was born to do. And I'm teaching, I'm sharing, I'm doing divine healings. And the Bible was an influence in my life, a big one. I mean, when you read John 14, before Jesus was going to be crucified, and he's talking to his disciples, trying to calm them down, but trying to also give them information, he's saying, everything that I can do, so can you, even more.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think he was kidding. So it's these kinds of things. I was a listener. I was that kid that's like, wait a minute, what did they just say? So it's changed me in that it's freed me to be really me, and to focus on, yes, I was scared to write the book. I mean, I remember my first podcast. I was a little scared about that. It's like, hope this all works out. But I've taught manifesting for a long time, so I really understand the frequency of energy, and I love teaching that. But it's freed me up, and I'm telling you, as you probably connect with all the people you connect with, more and more people. I mean, I have people coming to me and saying, "I read your book, chapter 6, when you talked
Yeah.
about this." It's just it's connecting, and that is one of my favorite words: is connect spiritually with each other. We're spiritual beings. We're in a body for a while, but it's temporary.
And, I'll tell you what, I love this, but I love what you just said too, because so often, and I'm sure this has happened to you along the way, so often you speak a truth and you become an anomaly. You speak a truth and you end up in the psychiatrist, Dr. Jacoby, which I had to visit on a regular basis.
Oh boy.
But then something happens in your life later on, and you see all the dots that were never going to be connected without divine intervention. Never going to
Yes.
be connected. So I want to ask you about one thing, because I do want to talk to you about your relationship with Jesus. But more importantly, there's a chapter in the book that talks about grief and gifts.
Oh
I
yes.
think, yeah. And so the reason I bring that up is so often, it's called Broken Open Grief and Gifts. It's a part of your book.
Yes.
And you go on, part two, rather, and you go on to tell various stories. It is my belief and prayer that through this network and what we're building and the shows, that people, they do grieve what they have to grieve, but they
Yes.
also see the gift. And that's my second question to you about your relationship with Jesus and the divine, and the
Yes.
strengthening of that through doing the work you're doing in the world.
Yes. And speaking of grief, I mean, my mom died 12 years ago. And that's when, I mean, all the feelings, all the emotions, lots of tears. And it broke me open spiritually as well. So as I healed, and I asked God for healing because I was down. Uh, I, I mean, I wasn't going to kill myself, but I wanted to be with my mom. Okay. So I understand grief, and I also it led me to understand about death, how, we just transform. We're energy, we're pieces of divine energy from our great creator, and we're going to transform. We're not going to go away. And so it strengthened my relationship because I leaned into it. I surrendered. I said, I'm not functioning very well when that happened. I need help. And I think many times there's a traumatic situation, whether it's a death, an illness, a lost job, a relationship breaks up, where we really truly grieve. And we want to feel better. And I had always prayed, and I just continued to pray and surrender. And so my relationship with God just continues to get stronger, no matter what other people think of me. And again, I'm not trying to convince anybody because I don't need to, but
Yeah.
the acid test, I always ask, and for your viewers and listeners, I always say the acid test for me is, what is your experience? And that's why I thought, the sharing of all these stories
Yeah.
is my real life experience. And you all have had those experiences too. And we might call them flukes, but
Yeah.
they're your guides. I call it my spiritual team. And again, I don't understand every little piece of it, but I understand enough. And we have now people with the, they had a near death experience, which my mom did. It's all in the book. And I mean, they are bringing back lots of information of their real life experiences, and they can document it because the doctors will say, yeah, from this time you were gone.
Yeah.
So it's not like we need to prove it anymore. What was going on in the Bible is going on today. And Jesus, that was his thing. It's like, it's not just the Bible, it's happening today
Yeah.
to you right now.
And let's talk about this because I know we got a little time left, but I want to jump to what you're doing in the world today.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you have created a process, let me, lack of a better word, to help people, the ACUTE system. But there's something I want to jump to because you're not only now in the world sharing messages from people that have transitioned, but you are now helping other people manifest. And people like me that have worked now for 23 years to launch what we're launching, we get stuck and we don't know what to do. So, talk a bit on how all this has now come together to place you in a beautiful position to help people manifest.
Yes. And I just want to say my dad was my first human manifesting teacher. He
Mm.
said, and he was a farmer, he said to me one day when I was about 6, he said, Karoleen, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And of course, I didn't know what he was talking about then, but I never forgot it. And I love manifesting. I could talk all day on manifesting. And it's basically understanding that we live in God's divine energy system that's made up of electromagnetic energy. We are magnets. We are people magnets. And that means how you're feeling, that's the magnetic pull. Even words. That's why when your doggy comes up to you and you say, you ugly little face dog, because that's how you sometimes talk to a little, oh, you're so, and you might say negative words, but it's the way, it's the feeling that you have that carries the attraction. And that is why manifesting, we have to really go, and everybody's manifesting, right? We're all reading energy, we're all manifesting. And what happens is people stay in lower energies. And that means what you think it means, negative energy, scared,
Doubt,
distrustful, doubt,
doubt.
confusion, anything that slants negative. And because we're given free will, we have a choice how we feel. So if I have a cold, and when my mom died, you know what made me feel better? Was to talk to my clients. I never missed an appointment through that whole mourning period because it allowed me to focus on what I love to do. And so when you're ill, when your boyfriend just broke up with you, you know what? There's so much to be happy about. You want to refocus and elevate that energy to a higher frequency, happier, better feeling. Our job is to feel better as soon as we can. And that's why people say you're kind of like a Pollyanna. I say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm called Pollyanna Patty. No
Yeah,
kidding.
I love it.
Right?
Exactly. And you know what? Then look at your health. I feel like this is the fountain of youth. You want to raise
Yeah.
your frequencies and
Yeah.
really get, and by the way, if you want something, if you have desires, you want to lift up that energy to a higher frequency. Happy. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and it was like, if you want to manifest, start fantasizing about what you want. And that is what I do. I fantasize. I think, oh my gosh, I don't know who my next client would be, but we're going to have the most interesting
Yeah.
conversations. And I couldn't have picked up this. You're my favorite podcast because I've known you for years and I've followed you. And I never said I wanted it, but I said, I just know that I'm going to get bigger and better and more. They're going to reach more people is what my point is.
Mm.
And then I get this. So do you see?
I do.
I didn't even say I needed it. I just said, oh, I know my spiritual team and God is going to work through me. And here we are.
And I want to invite you back because
Okay,
I
I'd
really
love
want to talk about, we gave people a backdrop for the book. So I want to ask you, how do people get the book? How do they connect with you?
Okay.
How do they take the quiz? All of those things. How do they hook up with you to do a discovery call? But I want to have you back because I am starting to dedicate a series to manifestation. And somebody said to me the other day, and this is what got me going.
I love it.
Well, Pat, what would you do if you lost everything? I said, what the heck are you asking me that question about? What do you mean what I do? I said, I have lost everything several times in my life and I've come back bigger, better, and stronger, but I never entertained that thought. So if you will come back, I'll
I would
make sure
love to.
Linda connects. But how do we find out about you? How do we get the book? Everything.
Okay, great. Opening to Divine Intervention is on Amazon. Just go there, Karoleen Fober, and get the book. I also have a free intuition assessment for all your viewers and listeners. Um, it's free. It's 6 questions, but it will progress you in your intuition. And I do a free discovery call if you're really interested in knowing more. And of course, I have courses, intuition mastery courses, and yeah, follow me on Facebook,
I
Karoleen
love it.
Fober.
Look, thank you so much for everything. Now, what's your website one more time?
Oh, it's just my name, Karoleen Fober. You see it, KaroleenFober.com.
I have about 20 seconds left. One last question. What is your personal message? What do you want to leave people with?
You are a spiritual being, loved, guided, and protected so much. Really surrender to it and enjoy it and learn more about it. It's not a fluke. This is divine.
Opening to the divine. This body of work, this spiritual writing is the key to what ails you. There wasn't enough time for us to really talk story, but I wouldn't be here today if I didn't haphazardly learn that. Thank you. Thank you for putting something together that everybody can use. And I hope you will come back.
I would love to come back. You just let me know. I'll be there. Thank you
Okay,
so
I will.
much.
For those of you out there, take the quiz. Great little quiz. I've started to take the quiz, and there was one question, and I thought, am I going to tell the truth on this? Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sierra, and thanks to all of you out there. I'm telling you, you have the ability to do exactly what Karoleen is talking about. Maybe you just need a tune-up to help you remember. We'll see you next time.